Hey everyone, this is Jim Okerzinski with your weekly lecture video. So I thought I would reach back and talk about where we've been. I feel I've done enough explaining for the first draft of the research essay in Sunday screencast video. So we'll take a look back and also a tour through chapter 4. I think chapter 4 will be a good resource to really drive through, look at, get some knowledge out of that. You want to glean some knowledge out of chapter 4 about the draft, and I think things will come into perspective. So if we go from the topic proposal that we wrote, probably was week 6 or 7, to the annotated bibliography, and we can pick it up right from the annotated bibliography. We've been focused on one topic, your topic, throughout this back half of the semester. And I want to emphasize that your topic for this research essay draft is what you've been working with, you should have been working with from the annotated bibliography and all that source material, using that source material once again for the double entry journal as we move through into even carrying the conversation with the dialogue with Dave. It's the same topic, same work, same sources. And also, I want to point out that, exercise 4.3 was supposed to be the activity where you drafted an introduction based upon the strategies that Ballinger had in exercise 4.3. So that's rolling right through to that point where you even have an introduction for your research essay. Discussion board 15. If I get the discussion board 15, right here, the connecting and synthesizing and utilizing the quote sandwich should be, and I say here, right, using the sources from the double entry, which you should have used the sources from the annotated bibliography, right? And I addressed that several times throughout all my modules. So you are working on the same research essay, the same topic, the same source material. If you found something new and interesting, certainly you can use that in your research essay. Just make sure you cite it in the works cited page. You don't need to redo any activities that have been completed prior. You just move forward as towards the draft, toward the first draft. And the only opportunity that you have here is to do this first draft, peer review, and the final draft. There is nothing but a closing out discussion board that'll be released the last week of school. The final draft of this research essay will be your final assignment here. So this is all we're working on for the last 2-3 weeks of the semester. So I hope that some of you, at least hopefully everybody watches this video and answers a lot of the questions that you may have. But this is about it. We're winding down the semester. So the draft will be due next week. In Sunday screencast video, I will speak to the draft posting and peer review process. So you're going to want to make sure to take a look at that video on Sunday. Now, I do want to encourage everyone to roll through, spend some time in chapter 4. Ballinger provides some really good information about drafting the research essay. He has a famous acronym here of SOFT, and you can read through that. You just say one thing. Now, how you want to organize the draft, that's really up to you. We will have narrative and argumentative logic here in a minute, but organizing it, if you're going to make an argument, you can do oftentimes a problem solution or a proposal type of an organizational structure where you write about the problem and then write about the solutions is an option for you to choose depending upon your topic. Come to mind, social media and mental health. That might be a proposal format, problem solution, right? So it depends on how you want to organize the draft. Ballinger talks about a narrative logic, and I think it's important to read through this section so he know and understand clearly what narrative logic is and the way he refers to it. Okay, so more likely it's a way to coordinate information rather than to subordinate it. Subordinating it is where you use your information to support the claim. Okay, so the idea here is think about and really read through and understand what narrative logic might be in the way of organizing a draft. And then, of course, we all know about following argumentative logic, right? The typical thesis-driven argument, I just mentioned problem solution. So you may consider that if you feel strongly and you want to present an argument about your particular topic. Okay, so that's entirely up to you. I will be looking for some organizational structure. Ballinger provides an exploring and arguing an example here. Okay, he talks about refining your thesis. If you're jumping into the thesis area of an argumentative logic, excuse me. And you might want to consider maybe looking at exercise 4.2. I didn't include it in the week to week, but however, thesis from a question of value or thesis from a question of policy, even if you're exploring and using narrative logic, sometimes working through a thesis in one of these strategies might help you organize your information. As always, we have the conversation about saying I. Okay, you can read through that. I'm not opposed to it, but it cannot run away. An interesting read is Flashlights or Floodlights, and Ballinger talks about how to look at your information from the introduction all the way straight through your drafts. Obviously, we've already done, though, writing multiple leads, so I'm going to roll through this pretty quickly. Everybody did a pretty good job of finding a way into their particular research topic, right? And always, now this was going to be my big comment when I kind of look over your drafts, just gathering the information and kind of just jamming it into a draft. You have to do something with it, right? So you have to begin writing for reader interest, thinking about audience. How does your particular topic really affect people and also affect society, right? I think it's important then. Where do you have that ability to work the common ground with your particular topic with the audience there? Putting people on the page is something that's really interesting. E.B. White's got a little advice in here for all of you. I think it's really important. Some of you might even remember who E.B. White is, right? And then really a strong conclusion. And a conclusion should never, ever start in conclusion. You can figure out some alternative ways to use a phrase to wrap up your particular draft, right? And remember, here we're working with synthesizing sources. This is what you've done in discussion board 15 and how to synthesize those sources. I pointed out the principles of citations and how to handle quotes in the screencast on Sunday. So all of this particular content in chapter 4 might be an interesting read before you start drafting your particular essay. The format is straightforward, talks about controlling quotations, and billboarding quotes I think is really interesting. And not only that, handling interview material. Many of you have had interviews in your annotated bibliographies. They work well. How do you integrate that into your drafts? So chapter 4 is an excellent resource for you to look through, spend some time with it before you drive through the first draft. All right. So hopefully this will lay out everybody's concerns about the first draft. Sorry, this is a little bit long of a lecture video, but if I do get some certain emails with certain questions that have been answered here, I know people are just not watching my videos. All right. So anyway, if you have any questions or issues about the draft and the posting of it, let me know. Good luck.